Hi, Charles Moman here. Well, as you saw in the title, it's lights, camera, and safety. Not action, but there's some action involved here getting this done. Thanks for watching. Well, one thing I found out pretty quickly about this beautiful Ford Transit 250 is it's got a terrible blind spot. Not so much on the left, but boy, on the right, there's no window in the door. I've got mirrors, and it's got the fisheye part down at the bottom, but in some situations, it's really hard to see what's going on. If I come up to intersection and it's 90-degree angles, I'm good, no problem. And even driving down the interstate, look in the mirror, you can see pretty much. But when you come up to a street, like I was at the Seymour Airport a few weeks ago, and if you turn like an oblique angle street, I could not see. I was almost getting out of the seat to look, and I finally edged out, and then with the mirror I could pretty well tell it was safe. There wasn't a lot of traffic there, but I realized right then I had to do something. I can't always have Susie sitting right there. So months ago I already bought the Halo View MC7108, and I bought it. I think that was before I even contacted companies about partnerships, and if I had, I probably would have gotten that sent to me. But I bought it, and let me show it to you. Well, I'm not going to get detailed about this system at all, but I'm just going to be talking in general terms. But it's got a really nice 7-inch screen, and here's the camera. And what's going to happen with this camera, it's going to go on the back, and my son-in-law, he and his father and uncle own a business, Balta's Electronics, and you see them as one of my corporate partners. And so far, they've just been giving me advice, but pretty soon I'm going to go over and they're going to help me with installing cameras and lights. And this will go on the back. There's that third light up there, and they do this all the time, installing on police cars and ambulances and buses and all that. So they're going to install it and get it wired for me, and it's wireless, and so you connect with this, and this is a nice screen. It comes with a mount that you can put a bracket and install it right there, but I'm going to be trying their beanbag mount and also their suction mount for the windshield, because I don't really want to mount it where it stays right there, and I'll explain that in a second. And so this is what's going to be working, letting me see all the time while I'm driving behind me. And it's a pretty wide view, so when I'm driving through Atlanta, which I just love, or other busy traffic, I'm going to have a great view of everything that's going on behind me. But I've got to see better on the right side. So let me set these down. Let me tell you what I think my solution will be. So what my plan is, I'm going to put two side view cameras, a left and a right, on my van, and they're also made by Halo View, and they're actually sending them to me. They're sitting in Hong Kong right now, but the other day I wasn't even asking them for anything. I just got on Facebook and asked a question. I said, hey, here's my situation. Will your CA110, I hope that's the right number, will that side view camera work in my situation? What they're intended for are for people that are pulling RVs, and they put them on either side of their long RV so they can have better views when they're doing their lane changes and just general driving safety. And so all of a sudden, I forget how many hours later, I hear a ding, and I happen to be around my computer, and I just chatted with them, and I said, hey, I said, I'm doing a van build, and I said, I've got this series going on my YouTube channel, and I'm wondering if you think these would work. And they said, well, what's your channel name? So I told them, but all of a sudden, it was like a 2 or 3 minute wait. Boom, all of a sudden they came back and said, we could send you those two cameras. But their question was, how are you going to mount them, and can you send a picture? So I sent a picture of the van, and I actually sent them a couple of pictures, and I put some blue painter's tape, put an X here, and I think I put an X here somewhere, and I said, I'm proposing, I haven't talked to my son-in-law yet, but I'm proposing that somewhere in here, we're going to put the small camera, and we'll test it, we'll get it, the Wi-Fi connected and power to it, and we'll set them up and see where it might go. Another option would be, there are mounting points built into a Ford Transit at the top. It's 8mm bolt, there's some rubber covers, you can peel them back, and they use those for racks and for platforms, but I could put a bracket up there and have the camera as well. So it's adjustable, and so they're sending me both the right and the left. I probably only really need the right one for this blind spot, but I think it's really going to work out well. I've been watching some people's videos that put them on their big RVs, and I think this is going to work out great. So whether it's here or here. We're just gonna we'll find a place, and it can be put on with a magnet. You can use the really super sticky high bond value with 3M, and I've seen people some big things held, and these are pretty light cameras. It can be done that way, but we'll probably mount them because I'm gonna have to have power coming anyway, so there's gonna have to be a hole drilled. They make a really neat side cameras. If I had side lights like this, it replaces. It comes with it's all one unit. It has the mirror, the side light, and then the camera's connected to it. So you just pop off the other one, rewire it, and you're done. But unfortunately, we don't have that here. So I probably could have used one of those, I think. But I think this solution is going to will work better. So 2 of the CA110s, and I think they're going to give me a lot of safety because I just cannot see. And with that screen that I showed you, you can show up to 4 cameras. So I'll have 2 cameras and then 1 in the back. I don't think I'm going to have a forward camera, but I think that's going to be a great solution. And as soon as I get those, I'll get those mounted and show you how it works and drive down the road and let you see the screen. So I'm really excited about that. So that's one thing. Well, speaking about cameras, there's one other thing. Sometimes when we've been camping, we've heard some noise outside our little runaway camper, and now it'll be with our van, and we just kind of wonder what was going on. You can sort of peek out out the curtain. My wife always jokes she wanted a porthole on the front of the runaway, and so sometimes we'd be in the camper, we wonder if someone's messing with the car. It never happened, no matter where we were, whether it was at a campground or national parks, state park, Cracker Barrel, or one time we stayed at a Walmart. So we still kind of like the idea of being able to see. And so one thing that there's a couple of options. One is I could get the Wise. I've got Wise cameras, and I'll show you some pictures. I've got a Wise camera, actually 2 right here. One shows the driveway, one shows the back door. I've got one showing the field, and I've got one on the front porch showing, so I can see if a delivery truck comes. And you can set the motion alerts and all those kinds of things. Well, they now have an outdoor. I have these all outdoors, and they're the early models, but they're in housings. And so they now make an outdoor Wise camera that I could put up here, put a couple of them up there because they're not that expensive, and they are rechargeable, and they would work with a phone. I suppose with an iPad too, but I have an app on the phone, and the only issue is you need Wi-Fi to use them. And so if you're at a campground, they have Wi-Fi sometimes, but it's usually lousy, quite often. But we have a hotspot. We have a Skyroam hotspot. And so we could have the Skyroam going and have 1 or 2 Wise cameras, one up here, maybe one over at the cargo door, and have the alert set and have the phone plugged into one of my Ecoflows, so it's not going to drain it dry. And if we hear something or an alert goes off, we will be able to see because they have night vision as well. So we're seriously considering putting a camera. Wise Outdoors is one solution, but another is from HaloView. And they've again, they are sending me 2 side view cameras. I don't know if they're going to send me one of these. It's called a handy camera. Whether they supply me with one or not, I'm considering getting one of those, maybe 2, but probably one. And I'm going to put it on a magnet mount, and I could put it over above the cargo door or back here, but it'll be up high. And that's why I said I didn't want to have my HaloView screen mounted permanently up there. I want the beanbag mount, probably. That's probably what I use the most. And I can pick that up and bring it back here to our sleeping area. And it will work with that handy camera. And so it'll be wireless. I don't have to do any wiring to it because it's got its own battery. And so that's another option I'm seriously considering. Since I've already got the screen, it's going to be very, very handy. And that screen just plugs into with the cigarette lighter port. You can wire it directly, but I'm just going to have it so it will plug into the Delta or the River 600 cigarette port, plug it in, and it will power that screen, and it will connect wirelessly to the camera. So we think that's going to be a great idea. Just a little security. We're not super paranoid, but sometimes you just hear stuff outside and you want to know what's going on. All right, so that's my thoughts about cameras. Now let's talk about lights a little bit. Well, lastly, let's talk about lights. transit. It's got some great headlights here and tail lights and some big third light up on the top. But I like to have some extra lights. You may, if you've looked into my other videos, you'll see with my runaway campers, both of them, I put big LED lights on the back of it, and it really made me feel safe. But sometimes we're in situations where, you know, you're going into, say, a state forest or down a country road, and I know you can't turn on light bars on the regular highways, but if you're heading into a campground, sometimes it would be nice just to have some extra light. There's a couple places we've been, and we like to be set up before it's dark, definitely. But if you get in those situations, sometimes it would be nice just to light up an area, especially if it's an area where, you know, the camp spots are not real close to each other, and you can light it up and it won't really bother people. And so I found a company, Nightlight, and on Amazon, it's really not very expensive. You can spend 10 times more, but these actually have pretty good reviews. They have a really neat license mount here. It's got a bar, and then I'm going to be putting either a 7 or 11-inch LED light bar, 1 or 2 rows of LED lights, and I've seen them in action. And what I'll do is we'll have it wired into the system, and I'll have a rocker switch so I can turn that on and off independently. What I do want to do is have some lights in the back, and so Nightlight has a package. Right now it's $28 for these 4. They're about that big, and they're really bright. I've seen them in use, and people are really pretty happy with them. And put one, I think one on the corner in the back, and again it'll be a separate switch, and I can turn that on, especially if we're backing in, or if I just want to light up an area as we're getting set up. And the other 2, I would put them on a magnet base, and those I would use for security, like those cameras I mentioned, the handy camera or the Wise outdoor. And I could put one up there and one on the back, and I'll have it pre-wired so that I can. They will be powered by one of my Ecoflow lithium, so the River 600 or the Delta, and they have a cigarette lighter, and I can already have it plugged in. And if I hear something, I could push that button, and I can light up the outside of my van like a movie set, and so that'll scare away the bear maybe, or maybe the bad guy. We've never had any trouble, so we're not, you know, uber paranoid about it, but, you know, sometimes things can happen. And you know, I put on my Facebook, I said, well, you know, either it'll light up the area and scare the bad guy away, or else he can murder us in nice plain light, you know, so nice bright light. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about with safety and security. Having the side cameras, camera in the back, a couple safety cameras that we could see around us, daytime or nighttime. That's what I'm thinking about with lights, camera, and safety. And as soon as I get all my devices, you'll see them being installed and then in use, and see what you think about it. Thanks for watching.